And you say honesty, honesty. And you say honesty, honesty. And you say honesty, honesty. And you say honesty, honesty.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Bless up Annie, Marcy, Janet, Verna, Honey B, Val Rose, Jackie, Leacia. Not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, so I'll just go with Miss Harris. Kerry. Yeah, you can call now, Kerry. Janet, Lion, Jason. Yeah, everyone, welcome, 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 and welcome to Reason with Rattigan. I'm your host, Will the Rebel Rattigan. And this is a special edition. We're going to run this for just 2 hours. And then we'll be off. Hold on 1 second. Yes, go ahead, please.
Hi, good evening, Mr. Rattigan.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm okay. I'm on live?
Yes, you're on live.
Oh, because I wanted was to say whatever I have to say to you off live.
Wow.
But it's just going to take a couple minutes, just 2 minutes. Is that okay, or?
Oh, you want to talk now?
Yes.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
But I don't want to be on the live. Okay, so
I'll tell you what. No, I'll tell you what. Let me get your number. I have your number here. I'll call you back. Hold on.
Okay, before you do that, let me introduce myself more. So I'm one of Andre's student.
Yes.
I watch him religiously, like every single evening.
Mm-hmm.
Every show, every program, whether day live, evening live, you and him and Isaac, I watch him religiously.
Mm-hmm.
I know this is going through pain. I don't know what to do to send my deepest, sympathy or condolences. So I texted him on WhatsApp by voice noting him a couple days ago. Since the last time he was on, after that, I sent him on WhatsApp. I noticed he didn't respond. Of course, he's having thousands of WhatsApp, so he wouldn't be able to respond, right? So I, in turn, got up from morning, and because Sister Heather, which is his mother, is on my mind so much, I just wanted to call him and just to say, Andre, how you doing, stuff like that. And I called, and the way Andre handled me, I'm at work. It just messed up my whole day. I'm like crying. The man just come on the phone. When I bother my phone, when I call my phone for, where I call my phone for, what? Something like, you need peace. We need peace for morn, or something like that. Him say, we need peace for morn. When I call on my phone, I said, Angel, where I call me for? Me tell you for WhatsApp me. I've never spoken to Andre personally, but because I am a victim, because I was stabbed 5 times by my husband. After all the bad treatment, me decided to leave him, stab me 5 times to kill me. So me, feeling Sister Ada pain and also feeling Andre pain, I just wanted to just lay my concern, Mm-hmm. And the way the man handled me, Mr. Rattigan, I think you're mature and old enough to just to talk to him. Just to say, Andre, I know you're going through pain. You're not the only one lost somebody. But if somebody lost somebody, there's nobody in this world that I've met in my 52 years that I've lost people, including me, who lose my mother 2020 at age 68. Ever. And it's sudden too, because it's a sudden sickness and sudden death. Sudden.
Right.
I never disrespect nobody who called to lay their sympathy or their condolences or whatever it is. Andre is very disrespectful, Mr. Rattigan, and he looked up to you as a father, so I'm calling you to tell you to talk to him because he don't know who is hurting in the process.
Okay. And what's your name again? Your first name?
Cherry is my name.
Cherry?
Yes, I live in Canada. I'm a Jamaican, but I live in Canada from me 17, me 52. Always been in Jamaica until 2018. The last time I went back, and my mother died 2020. Me not go back since. Well, my mom was here as well. And it's like me just I feel in pain, and especially when I pour out him art the other day, I felt it, but it's not the good time to call him. So I give him days, and I said, let me call. But the real Andre talked to me, Mr. Rattigan. I was so ashamed.
All right. Cherry, listen, I can't apologize for him, and I can't apologize for what happened. But what I'll do is this.
No, I want you to talk to him. Because these things are very, very hurtful.
Yeah, I'll talk to him. I'll talk to him. I promise you that. And I have your number, so I'll keep in touch with you. All right?
Please.
All right, then. So take care of yourself, be well, and keep your chin up. All right? These things happen.
Yeah, it does, and I'm there because not his side, and of course his side because he's been through so much, because he's been through a lot of physical hurt as well. But Miss Heather died because of a man who killed her, who was her husband. I got 5 stab wounds. I was in hospital on life support. I made it through. So I'm just calling to say, Andre, I feel your pain. I know what you're going through. I just wanted to talk to him, just to give him words of comfort.
All I can
don't be disrespectful.
He's going through a lot right now, so don't hold it against him. You know what I mean? So but we'll see what we can do. All right? No,
please.
I'm gonna jump off. So listen to the program because this is an exciting program. Probably more exciting than the one we had on Saturday. So check it out. All right?
Yeah.
All right.
I will. I'm on now.
All
yes.
Right,
bye bye.
Right. Yes, folks. We're joined by, of course, Herb Nelson Jr. and the man known as Bongo Jerry. See him there in him outfit, look like him ready for start spew some knowledge. So what the topic, this is kind of a like it's not the regular Saturday program, but it's something that some people reached out to me and said, listen, we need to do something concerning emancipation and independence and the Constitution. And I could think of no two better people than the two people you see on the screen with me right now to deal with this issue, particularly Bongo, because he has a wealth of information on the historical side of it. Of course, Herb Nelson, he's the analyst, and I'm just the host, so I'm just here to kind of like just listen and learn. So what we're gonna do this evening is a little bit different than what we normally do on a Saturday. Oh, and by the way, we're going to be joined in the second half by Miss Stephanie Marley. She's part of a foundation, a Marley Foundation called Ghetto Youths, or the Ghetto Youths Foundation. And she's going to come and talk to us about her foundation and see if there is any way that her foundation can link up with the foundation that we have on this platform called One Jamaica Legal Defense Foundation. I'm sure we'll make it work. So it's going to be a force to be reckoned with. And let me just say this, that, and I'll say it again on Saturday, but today I went to the bank. They called me in to regarding the foundation because I signed up with them to open the account, and then they needed more information. So I gave them the information, and the branch manager told me that they have a unit called Know Your Customers, KYC, and they're the ones running the show when it comes to the non-profit organization. And they're very careful about it being an international banking entity because they said that, I don't know if it's true, I just have to take his word for it. He said that they just before COVID, during COVID, they discovered that a lot of the, I shouldn't say a lot, but they discovered that some of the non-profit organizations, they're used to launder money, and some of them are used to commit fraud, and that's why they have to be exact when they do these things. They have to make sure that that they do a due diligence on the organization and also on the people involved. So long story short, he said that I gave him the information today. I signed off again, and he said he's going to send it back into the component, the know your customer component, and if they need more information, he'll let me know. But suffice it to say that he said it'll take about 7 to 10 days before, if everything goes well. He said it will take about 7 to 10 days before the account will become active. He's also said there's a possibility they might come back and ask for more information. But I'm prepared to give them whatever they want, because I mean this is no fly by night organization, and it's not an organization that will have anything to do with fraud or money laundering. One of the things he made sure to tell me was that do not collect cash. He said that's a big red signal. Do not collect cash. Have people donate their funds through whatever means where those funds can be tracked and traced back to people, as opposed to somebody saying that they're going to give you cash, because he said that's a huge problem for them, because sometimes some of these people, they collect cash, they don't deposit the cash, or for whatever reason, the people who gave them cash claim that they gave them more than what they deposited, and then you have all kinds of issues. So I can't afford to be involved in something like that. So I'll make it absolutely clear. We will accept no cash. So you'll just have to send the money in through electronic means or a check. But that was it, PayPal or the other one, I don't remember. But definitely not cash. So again, good evening to everyone. So now we have the General, Bongo Jerry. Out there somewhere, a lot of, I guess in the backyard somewhere, I have a lot of woods and trees behind him. So, and he's just rearing to go. So, Jerry, here's what we're gonna do this evening. Stephanie's gonna join us the second hour. She's gonna join us from 6 to 7 or 4 to 5 Jamaica time, 6 to 7 our time. So we have about 45 minutes to kind of like run through some concepts, some history, kind of like informing and educating at the same time our people, because we're finding out that a lot of them, they don't know about the constitution upon which they will be required to vote on through the referendum. A lot of them, they've never read it, and some of them they've read it but they don't understand it. So what I'd like you to do is kind of lead us off with an idea of the history of Jamaica concerning emancipation, and then we'll just roll right over into independence, and then we'll talk about the Constitution. So if you don't mind, the floor is all yours, sir. Welcome.
Yes, good evening, afternoon to everybody, especially the audience and you, the host, and Mr. and my fellow Mr. Nelson. Now, the people, as you know, most of our people don't know and are confused about these things because they have been deceived systematically as a system by a system. And the funny thing, not funny thing about it is that the educated people have been deceived more than the ignorant people. Now, emancipation, which most people understand, is the law, the legal arrangement declaring that Africans in the colonies of England in the Caribbean were to be freed in 4 years' time, actually 5 years' time from 1833. They were to be declared legally free in 5 years' time. You still hearing me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
In 5 years' time from 1833 when the law was enacted. So they gave them 1 year notice that the counting will start next year in 1834. and they thought that they were going to be freed in 1834. But they were tricked step by step. Most people are tricked step by step. It is one of the most efficient ways to trick people is to do it step by step. Just like how enlightening people is usually best done step by step. By the time the next year came around and they thought that they were going to be free on the 1st of August, 1834, it was revealed to them that no, you are going to be freed in 4 years' time on the 1st of August, 1838. So gradually, they got used to the delay and the soon come. And that is why most of our people now are still used to being reassured that the thing soon happen. And after a while, they mockingly put that phrase on us. Jamaica, no problem, soon come. Now, they were also told that after 300 and nearly 40 years, they also were going to receive freedom of movement, not just free from slavery, enslavement. They were told they were going to be compensated because some millions of pounds was voted by the same parliament to compensate for the wrong of enslavement. Well, by the time the next year, 1834, they find out that it's not them going to be compensated, it is the enslaver who is going to be compensated for losing their property. Now, they knew that they were treated as the enslavers' property for 300, let me see now. Yeah, 340 years. But they thought that, as I said, they thought that they're going to get the compensation. So gradually it was fed out to them. No, not you going to get the compensation, but the people whose property you are to be until next year, 1st August. It's them going to get it. And then now for the next 4 years, you are going to be made an apprentice. So you're going to serve 4 more years in slavery. We never expect. Because they are training you to do a job. You know, apprenticeship is when you are to be a mechanic, or you are to be a carpenter, or you are to be a skilled worker, and you work along with the master worker. You have the master worker, the master mechanic, the master builder. You know the Master Builders Association, you brethren? Do you brethren the co-host know the Jamaica Master Builders Association?
No, I don't know. I don't know that association.
Yeah. There is such an association. I was once a member of it because I was working for one of the large building organizations in Jamaica, Ready Mix Concrete. And I used to go to the meetings of the executive. Not because I was a owner of the business Ready Mix, but because I was a worker there who they thought could serve them, having been educated. Now, this is the reason why they have educated some of us, not for us to be enlightened, but so that we may serve their purposes. You learn to read so that you may check upon their property and take instructions and carry out instructions. You learn to count that you may count their money and be a bookkeeper. And you are taught to fit into their system. That's what the education. You are taught religious education also to fit into their system and to make you calmer and not too agitated and determined to fight. So the apprenticeship system now was like when you are an apprentice mason, apprentice mechanic, or any other apprentice, and you learn under the master mechanic or the master builder. Because like in university education, education after secondary education, you have first education, second education, and third education. First education is primary school. Primary means first. And secondary education is what them call the second level of school, high school. And then you have tertiary. Tertiary means third. Third education. And at the end of third education, you have three levels of qualification. The first level of qualification is the level of being an adult in learning. But you are an adult in learning, but they call you bachelor. A bachelor is an adult male who is not yet married, not yet a master of his house and master of a family. So the first degree is a bachelor's, called in some countries baccalaureate. Bacca is a Greek for bachelor is a Greek. Baccalaureate. Laureate means you are decorated. But baccalaureate is the Greek for bachelor. You are now an adult in knowledge. And when you attain higher status than being just a bachelor of science or a bachelor of arts, you are now said to be a higher, and you may now teach the art or teach the science. So master means teacher or married person, married adult, master. Mistress is the female of master. Masteress, it means masteress, but the pronunciation changed to mistress, masteress, female master. And when you pass mastering the subject and being able to teach it, you are now uh you are now doctor. No, master means you have mastered the subject, and when you are able to teach it all levels, you are now called uh doctor. The word doctor means teacher. It does not mean medical. It does not mean a medical curer. The word doctor means teacher. So now the second level name master is coming from Greek, but the Jewish or Hebrew word for master was rabbi. So when you are learned in the Jewish law, religious law, you pass the bachelor and you are now an adult learned in the law, them call you rabbi. Saul, the young man who was given authority by the Roman, he had Jewish religious qualification, rabbi, second degree masters, and he also had a degree in civil government, similar like what Mr. Rattigan as a lawyer have qualification, as a man knowledgeable in the law. So Paul was a knowledgeable man and an officer of the law. He was a senior officer of the law, that means above inspector, at only 24 years old. And he was also a senior officer in the religious government of the Jews, a rabbi. Then Jesus as a young man was also a rabbi. Anyway, we're coming from apprentice, where you are less than a bachelor, less than an adult, you're an apprentice. Now hear this now. They don't know all this understanding because they have been deceived by the Jamaica Labour Party, which is the child of the People's National Party. The Jamaica Labour Party is a breakaway from the People's National Party, like how the NDM was a breakaway from the JLP. So I usually explain to people that the JLP is the NDM of the PNP. Now, how that emerges, like in 1834 and 1838, you were tricked. And so it was in 1938, 100 years later, the trick was renewed when the people of Jamaica sincerely established a national party to turn Jamaica into a nation. They were going to fight against the colonial masters, the English and the imperialists, and they were going to make Jamaica into a nation. So they formed a People's National Party sincerely. But when the British, who had selected two cousins, the British identified two cousins, just like how John the Baptist and Jesus was two first cousins. The British identified two cousins as the two men who would be able to counteract Marcus Garvey's influence over the people. After Marcus Garvey was deported from imprisoned and then deported from the United States to Jamaica, the British received him from the Americans straight off of the ship because he was given trouble in America. He was organizing the African people in America from during the middle of the First World War. Right in the middle of the First World War, Marcus Garvey reached America and started organize the African people in America to become a nation. The United States government realized that this guy is even stronger than the last leader, Booker T. Washington, and they watch him for some years, and then they say we have to form an organization, a new branch of the security forces, an intelligence branch, and that is how the Federal Bureau of Investigation was formed. It was formed, and they put a young man there, Edgar Hoover, 26 years old, and said we have to stop this organization by organizing to convict them on federal charges. There was no federal police in America. Each state is a nation. Each of the 13 states of America that declared independence is a separate nation. America is not one nation, it is a federation. It is a united nation, yes, but it is a federation of starting with 13 nations, 13 states. Each state had their state police, and for the first 100 and nearly 50 years, for the first 150 years, if you were able to leave a state without the state police holding you, it was very difficult for that state to get you back and to try you because you had no cross over the state line, and there was not any extradition treaty, a treaty that said this state will send you back to the other state. And even in America, once you cross over the state line, in most of the cases you are free. Now when Marcus Garvey started traveling around America, and within 4 years of being in America, by 1920 he's holding a world convention of the UNIA. The United States know that you have to get him on charges that he may not escape by crossing over the state line. And that is how the FBI was formed. It was not named the FBI at first. They put a young man, like what they do with most great things are formed by experiment and start small. And if it succeeds, it is fed and get bigger. And then sometimes they change the name and give it a new name. J. Edgar Hoover, a brilliant young man who was in intelligence gathering before and money law enforcement, was put in charge of that organization at 26 years old, and he remained the head of the FBI for more than 50 years, so much so that he was the head of the FBI up to the time when Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and John Kennedy brother, what's his name? John Kennedy brother, who was running for president and was way ahead of the crowd, was assassinated. The last Kennedy and Martin Luther King were assassinated within months of one another in 1968. J. Edgar Hoover was still head of the organization after nearly 50 years, and he remained the head of the organization that helped to bring down Nixon. Now, Nixon was brought down because he was an enemy to the intelligence community. Many people don't know that. Nixon was a man that was not comfortable with the intelligence community of the government of America. And this was he was a young lawyer in California. He was uncomfortable with the intelligence community, and he made an enemy of them. And you may not be an enemy of law enforcement in America and go free. And therefore, just as Trump was an enemy of the intelligence community, he wasn't allowed to go so far and no further. A lot of people don't know, but many people understand that. Now, so Jamaica now, after Marcus Garvey came here, was deported in 1927, and it is clear that they got him out of America, but he is now into the British Commonwealth, and he is going to spread the organization even more in the British Commonwealth. The English and the Americans cooperated with America. The British took over, and they knew that he was a danger, but he must be stopped. He must be stopped within 10 years. So he came back in 1927, and by
Hold on
1935,
one
they had
second.
stopped him. Am I
Hold
all
on one
right with
second.
your phone?
Yeah,
Hello.
yeah. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Hold that
Hello.
1927. Stick a pin right there. We have a call. You have a caller for Bongo Jerry? I mean, you have a call. You have a question for Bongo Jerry?
No, sorry, I just needed to speak to you from a family standpoint.
Okay, you're gonna have to call me back because we're in the middle of a presentation now. So,
Oh, I do apologize.
no,
I'd
no worries.
really
No,
love to
no
speak
apology
to you.
necessary. No. You can call
Thank
me
you.
back. We're gonna go until we have another hour and a half left on the program, so you can call me after that. I'll sit around and wait for you to call me.
Thank you. And the same number?
Same number.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right. Sorry about that, Bongo Jerry. Go ahead, please,
Yeah,
sir.
so Marcus Garvey was transferred from the United States to the British Commonwealth in 1927, but he started to organize to turn Jamaica into a nation, and he formed the first modern political party named the People's Political Party. He and other people, because no man or no woman can do anything very useful by themselves except bathe or masturbate. Anything more useful than that, you need the cooperation of another human being. So him along with other people, especially his girlfriend, because his girlfriend was just 19 years old when she helped him to form the UNIA. 19-year-old brilliant young woman. So the British knew that they would have to stop him within 10 years, and he has formed this political organization to turn Jamaica into a nation and to get it from out of the British grasp. So they know they must stop him within 10 years. They took away all of the property of the organization, and then they took away all of his property. And when he was broke and the organization was broke, they started looking around for some people to replace him in the eyes of the people. They identified a brilliant young lawyer, Norman Manley, who had been a hero of the people since he was 16 years old. Norman Manley won between 6 to 10 events. I don't somewhere between 6 and 10 events at championship, athletics championship at Sabina Park between 1910 and 1911 and 1912. I think the last time he ran was either 1911 or 1912. But he was a brilliant athlete, running world class times as a schoolboy. He was a brilliant cricketer. He was a brilliant footballer, and he was a brilliant sharpshooter. He represented Jamaica College in sharpshooting because we were trained to shoot guns at school. Once we were educated and were safe, that they say you're not going to turn the gun on them. They trained us to fire guns, and he was a sharpshooter, a footballer, a cricketer, and an athlete, all in the same year, and he played other sports. He was also brilliant in his brain. When he left Jamaica College, a little after he left Jamaica College, he got the Rhodes Scholarship and went to study. And the war broke out while he went to study at Oxford, and he decided to join the army. He then became a brilliant hero in fighting warfare. So he's adding so many things to his achievement that you cannot believe that one man could be so widely capable. He returned to Jamaica in 1922 at the age of 29, and within a short time, he became recognized as one of the most brilliant lawyers in the world. He won a lawsuit for the Vicks Vapor Rub Company when somebody tried to steal their copyright, and that only made him become more famous. So the British identify him because he loved Britain so much that he is one of the people that they can use to counteract Marcus Garvey. He had a cousin who was also brilliant, but not very much trained in school, but naturally brilliant, named Bustamante. He came back home to Jamaica after being in Cuba, and New York and a few more places. And he came back to Jamaica and became popular amongst the people by lending out money to people as a usurer. Lend out money and you have to pay all double interest to get back the money, but it's easy to get money for borrow from Buster. So the two of them is two cousins. The British identified them as people who could replace Marcus Garvey as a hero in their minds, and they started to use them against Marcus Garvey. Norman Manley volunteered. He was not a government lawyer. He volunteered to prosecute Marcus Garvey in a case for the government. And similarly, like how I have a brother who is a lawyer, he's not a government lawyer. And the prosecutorial office of Jamaica has asked him to prosecute Royal Reed, the man who is charged with many financial crimes. So many times private lawyers are asked to take on a government job because their specialization gives the impression to the government that they could do as good or better job than any other government lawyers. So now they identified these two young men, and they knew that they were, because the both of those young men, middle-aged by that time, loved England and Britain, they could rely on them to counteract Marcus Garvey. So the people of Jamaica, after rebellion spread right through the Caribbean from 1935, it reached Jamaica in 1938, and there was a big rebellion. And both Bustamante and Norman Manley give the people the impression that they can rescue them and lead this rebellion. And some of the Jamaicans between New York, the diaspora. Where are you, Mr. Rattigan?
I'm in the Washington, D.C. area.
And where are you, Mr. Nelson? I can't hear Mr. Nelson. Can you tell him to unmute?
Mm-hmm.
Where's now?
Yeah,
Can you hear me now?
yeah, loud and clear. Jerry was just asking where are you located.
Oh, I'm in the Washington, D.C. area as well, Jerry. You there, Jerry?
Let me see what happened with him.
I don't know why. I thought I was on before.
Yeah,
While we
still
checking,
there.
I should say, he's still there.
Go ahead, Herb. Yeah, no, go ahead. I
Said,
used.
okay,
Oh, it
until Jerry
says
come back,
on
I
the
should say
streams.
blessings and big up to the folks in your audience here. There's a lot of folks, names that I recognize. I'm glad to see you supporting us this afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Is he dropped off or what?
Yeah, he's dropped off, so he'll have to go out and come back
I'll
in.
come
So
back in.
right.
Okay,
So
I hope he can
let's
hear
just
us then.
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. While Jerry was giving you the litany since 1962 and the run up to that period, most Jamaicans are not fully aware of how disastrous slavery was for your forefathers. And one thing I've been looking at is the people who were shipped out from Africa down to Jamaica. Right? It appears there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different areas on the Western Africa, right? From Senegal, Gambia area, Sierra Leone, the what they call Windward and Gold Coast, Benin, Biafra, all the way down to West Central Africa.
Are you hearing me?
Yeah,
Okay,
Jerry,
there
you're
you
back. But
go.
hold on 1 second, Jerry. How long are you going to take? All right. Do you know what, Jerry?
No, no,
Finish up
let
your
Jerry
point.
go ahead and
Finish
finish.
up your point. Yeah, finish up your point, Jerry.
Am I being cut short?
No, you're
No,
not cut short. No, move forward.
All right. Why I asked where you two gentlemen are, I'm trying to make a point to our people that both of you are in the diaspora.
yeah,
And as before, it is the diaspora linking with the people inside Jamaica. It is the diaspora, the dispersed people outside of Africa, linking up with Africa, who will free our nation. So, in the diaspora in America in the 1930s, there were some people fighting to make Jamaica a nation, and they linked up with the people inside Jamaica, and that is how the People's National Party was formed. It is not Norman Manley formed the People's National Party. After they formed the People's National Party, they invited Norman Manley to come and be the head of it. Now, Bustamante was in the People's National Party from the beginning, but the British knew that for them to counteract Marcus Garvey, they could not allow them to take nation building serious. So they made a deal with Bustamante. The British locked up Bustamante in the military camp and made a deal with him that if you agree to leave and disunite with Norman Manley and the PNP, we will let you out of prison and allow you to form another party, and we will hand over Jamaica to you that you may pretend that Jamaica is a nation. So that is how the JLP was formed. Bustamante, who was a foundation member of the PNP, made a deal with the British like what the Maroons made, and agreed to split from the people like how the Maroons agreed to split from the Africans outside of the Maroon community. So all of this is to show you how gradually not only Jamaica became a pretended nation and state, but how the emancipation of the African people in 1834 and 1838 was a trick, because when they said they emancipated the people from slavery, they made sure that they did not get any land. If people are freed from prison and don't get any land, most of them will go back to the enslavers, and ask them for a piece of land to live on. The slavers are going to say to them, live back on the estate, and you have to work on the estate in exchange for living on the estate, and you get them back into slavery by giving them a small amount of money, and they have to be working to compensate or to pay for squatting on the estate. Now there is a thing named the Industrial Revolution that caused the British to bring about the end of slavery. The British brought about the end of slavery not because they would become good, or not because they thought slavery was wrong. They found out, not only they found out, the world gradually got to find out that you can construct machinery to do any kind of labor. So when you can construct machinery to do any kind of labor, you may now make any product in the world or any goods in the world with only a few human beings supervising and maintaining the machine. Well, how do you get rich when you don't need many laborers to build and to make products? You get rich by selling them those products. And how do you sell them those products? You get them to work for you. Are you still hearing me?
yeah, man.
Yes.
You get them to work for you for a piece of paper. They never work for gold. Once the British got the gold out of Africa, they had no intention of paying any African in gold, that the gold going to go back in the African hand. So they organize a system of credit. The thing that you call cash is not cash, it is credit. It is some piece of paper that credit you with a certain number of hours work. So now that they have machines that can make every product and everything that people need, they need people to buy these products. So they are going to work the majority of people and give them a piece of paper so that they can come and buy a soap, or that they can come and buy a pound of sugar, or that they can buy a can opener to open a tin. Meanwhile, they are working to buy the can opener and the pound of sugar. You are getting other work out of them. So it is like a carrot and the mule, where the mule is being encouraged to walk forward by holding a carrot in front of them. And the mule never get the carrot to eat, but they are getting a lot of walking and hauling of weight by the mule. So now, when we thought we were emancipated, we were not emancipated. We were organized into wage slavery. Enslavement for wages, which is a piece of paper, and you carry that paper to a storehouse and you get a soap, or you get a pound of sugar. So this is how the capitalist system is built, because the capital is money, gold, and machinery, and building and land. Those things are capital. Money, gold. Capital is considered. Capital means head, or most important thing. So capital is gold or precious metals or machinery that can make things, that's capital goods, or a piece of land, or there's another one I just named a while ago. So that is capital. Now the worker now is called labor. So they say that capital is the most important thing. That's why I named capital our head. And labor is not important. So capitalism is built upon the ownership of the most important things: the gold, the building, the machinery inside the building, and the land on which the building is built. So those things are capital, and us working out there is labor, and we must get the small share of the reward. And when you get your pay at the end of the week, they owe you nothing more. They own the goods that you have made, and therefore they sell it at any price back to you, same one. The worker working in the soap factory, at the end of the week when he get pay, he has to go and buy a soap. And you have to buy the soap over and over. So the capitalist system is built on what you call consumer goods, goods that finish and you have to buy it back all the time. So you are carrying the engine, and you are same one are feeding the engine and paying for the engine. You have to buy back the soap every week. Anyway, we thought it was emancipation, but little by little we found that it is not emancipation, it is wage slavery, because you own no land. And if you know you own no land, you may farm no land, and you may not make soap, you may not make can opener or anything, because you have to own land to make anything. Because anywhere you're going manufacture the thing, it have to be based upon piece of land, and you have to build a building. Now gradually Norman Manley and Bustamante form up the political parties in Jamaica under the supervision of England, and the people of Jamaica were confident because the PNP was formed sincerely by the people of Jamaica. But gradually the British find a way how to separate the leaders of the PNP from the followers among the people. What they did, they convinced the people that the PNP is communist. In other words, the PNP is like Russia, and After the World War, the PNP is going to turn Jamaica into a communist country. So they help Bustamante to form a party that say we are not communists. It is better to elect us to be the government of Jamaica. So we are going to have a nation that is not communist if you elect Bustamante. Now Bustamante and Manley, they they were set up to compete against one another, that the people would recognize one of them as the winner. The winner of the election will be the government, and the loser of the election will be the opposition, which is a part of the government. Just like in America, the Republicans are a part of the government, even though the president is a Democrat. And when Trump or a Republican was a president of America, the Democrats were still a part of the government. Those two parties, both of them formed the government together. And in Jamaica, the JLP and the PNP formed the government together. The PNP is not an enemy of the JLP. They are the minority partner, the junior partner in the government. Like when you have a business and you invest more money in the business than the other person, you become the major shareholder and they are the lesser shareholder, but the both of you own the business. So now to bring it up to date now, is the Spanish who came and captured the land in the Western Hemisphere from who was there before them. The Spanish and Christopher Columbus never discovered the Western Hemisphere. They heard about it because other people was there before. So when the Spanish come to the Western Hemisphere and start to capture America and capture the islands, they were getting richer than the British. So the British now, to be the richest people in Europe, they have to compete with the Spanish, who is their cousin. So the British decide to go and capture back some parts of the America from the Spanish. Now some people were here long before the Spanish and the British, thousands of years before. They owned the land first. Those people did walk over from Asia tens of thousands of years before. What they call the Red Indian, and what they call the Mestizo down in Mexico, and what they call the Aztec down in the southern part of America. The little short people you see in New York and Philadelphia and all. You see how them short? Them short, them little from the tall one, them the Red Indian. No, the Red Indian is the North American. But the little one, them from Mexico, so short and little. What do they call them, gentlemen?
I think
Mestizo,
I
man.
think
Eh?
it's
Mestizo.
Yeah, a better name for them is Mestizo. But generally, all of them together, what the white people in America call,
The white people call them
Chicanos,
wetbacks.
well,
Chicano.
those are some nickname, but the official name for them is Latino, not true.
Latino.
Why them
Latino.
call them Latino?
Because
Why them call?
they isn't Spanish derived from Latin?
Yes, Spanish is a descendant of the old language Latin,
Yeah.
and the Spanish people and the French people and the Italian people who speak a language that is close to the original Latin. All of those people are Latinos, but
Latinos.
the Spanish especially are identified as Latinos. Now, these little short people, are they Spanish?
They, they, they're actual Indians, Yaquis and
Yeah, they are Asiatics. They are Asians.
Asian.
They come from Asia. And the tall people who wear the mohawk, are they Spanish? The
They,
Mohawk and the Sioux and all those other people, the Sioux Indian, what, are they Spanish?
they,
No, they're part of the already called the original Red
They
Indian.
are the original Aboriginal people of the Americas. No, yet, no, why do they call these little short people? And why do they call the Puerto Ricans? And why do they call the Dominican Republic people and the Venezuelan? Why they call them Latino?
Hold on.
Because them speak Spanish, right?
yeah.
But they are not Latinos. No, no. What language we speak?
The- We're we're from Africa, so we
No,
were.
no.
I guess.
I never asked where we are from, sir. What language we speak?
Okay, we speak English today, but what
Okay.
we
We. Oh, no, 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 no. We speak English. Now, by speaking English, what would we call? What would we be called using the rule of them being called Latino? What would we be called?
Europeans,
No, we would be called Anglo. Anglo is the word
Anglo.
for English.
All right.
So are we Anglos?
No, not by a
And
long shot.
we are not Anglos, and those people are not Latinos, but they call them that to differentiate them from us. And this is one of the methods they use to discourage Latinos from associating with the
Uh,
African people.
all right. Bongo Jerry, listen, let me just take a quick break here. We're coming up on a commercial break in about 4 minutes. So those of you listening to us on Reggae Global Radio, you should probably switch over to YouTube if you want to hear the program, the continuation of the program during the commercial break, because you're going to hear commercials and some music. So, and that starts at the top of the hour. Before I go any further, let me just big up Karen and Angela for encouraging people to like up the live. We have Isilda. From the UK. It's staying up past her bedtime. Much appreciated. We have Janet, Arlene, Petro, LW, VCA Smith, Alreen, Loxley, SC from Canada, Miss Watson, Sharon, Lisa, Cos versus Cos, Mime, Dwayne, Cuba One, Catherine, Ressa, and the whole crew. Bless up to all of you for joining us on this Tuesday night. It's a special program. And Bongo Jerry, what we have coming on now, we can continue with the conversation, but because time is at a premium, we have Miss Stephanie Marley waiting to come on because she's only going to be with us for a little bit and then she has to go, and then we can continue our conversation if you don't mind. And I'd love for you to join in the conversation with her as well.
Oh, glad, yeah,
and her.
glad to help welcome her.
Right, and I think she's joined us already. She's there. Welcome, Stephanie. How are you? She's frozen.
Is that the person identified?
Yeah, Steph. Yeah, that's Stephanie right there.
She probably adjusting.
Stephanie.
All right.
Yes.
Know.
Greetings and salutations. Well,
Hello.
frozen again. Yeah. Well, I think she's making some adjustment to her camera. All right, let me just introduce her while she's trying to adjust the camera to join us. It's Stephanie Marley from the Marley family, and she's part of one of their foundations, and you can you hear us?
Keep talking. So you.
Jean, big up yourself. Janet. Sonia. Hold on, let me.
Yeah, we can hear you,
Yeah.
but we don't see you.
Yeah, we can't see you. You wanna? Let me take you out and then you come back in. Let's see if that will work. Okay. Well. All right. Let me see if she's gonna. She's probably experiencing some of the same problems that Bongo had earlier. So it's just technology. That's how things are. Alreen, thanks for being with us. If you have to leave, you have to leave, but we'd love for you to stay. Okay. All right. Let me see if she's back. She's not back yet. Well, as I was, yeah, big up yourself, Doreen. As I was telling everybody that Stephanie Marley is she's part of one of the Marley's foundations, and it's called Ghetto Youths Foundation, and they work with inner city families in particularly in the Trenchtown area. She's coming on to talk about some of the things that they're doing and see how we can collaborate and coordinate our efforts. When I say our, meaning the One Jamaica Legal Defense Foundation that is getting ready to start. It hasn't started yet. So I'm telling you folks, and I know, just be patient with me, because some of you, I think you're getting restless because you have all of that cash in your pocket, but don't spend it yet. I mean, if you have to pay your bills, you have to pay your bills. But oh no, Andrea, the schedule hasn't changed. This is just a special program for Tuesday night, but Reason with Rattigan on Saturday. That program is still on. But as I was saying, don't money yet unless you have to, really have to pay your bills or send your children to school or whatever. But if you have the extra money, don't spend it, because the foundation is coming online. It's just that the bank has to do its due diligence for a number of reasons beyond. Okay, there she is. Let me see now. Okay. All right. You're there.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes.
Thank you for your
All
patience.
right. Welcome.
Great to be here.
No worries at all. No worries at all. Can you hear me?
I am, yes.
Okay.
Brother
Okay.
Jerry.
Well,
How are you doing? How you doing?
I was just gonna introduce it to Brother Jerry first, and then we have Herb Nelson, top right,
Brother
and
Herb.
of course,
Hi, how you
And
doing, Stephanie?
and of course, yours truly, just the host, just here trying to learn as we go along. Rattigan the Rebel. So
Very instrumental.
so
role.
welcome.
Good to be here.
All right, good. Well, you know what? For some of the people out there, there are all kinds of questions in the chat room. Just tell us a little bit about who you are, and then we can run into the foundation and move forward, please.
I'm just Stephanie. Yes, I'm a member of the Marley family, but I find myself to be an individual, governed by the principles of the Almighty and moving my way through this journey of life,
Mm-hmm.
That's who I am.
Tell us
So,
about the
go ahead.
No, please. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, I'm just saying simply that's really who I am. I am a member of the Marley family. But first and foremost, I'm a child of God, and that leads me.
All right. No, it's my understanding that you've been doing some tremendous work in some of the inner cities. And that's what we are trying to do on this platform. We're on the verge of establishing, well, we have established it. We're just on the verge of establishing the financial aspect of, the contribution aspect of One Jamaica Legal Defense Foundation. And I think Lion sent you our mandate. We're non-partisan, and our primary purpose is to hold government accountable, especially for service delivery. And it doesn't matter who is in charge of the government, whether it's whether what party or what color. It doesn't matter. We're going to hold them accountable, and we seek to do so through three means. One is to, wherever we can, establish jurisdiction and bring lawsuits, whether it's the UK, Jamaica, the US, Canada. It doesn't matter. Europe. It really doesn't matter. Wherever we can establish jurisdiction, and the reason why I say Europe and Canada, because the Jamaica gets donor funds. And we have discovered that a lot of the funding that should go to poor people and their needs, those funds end up somewhere else, besides and beyond where its original destination, its intended destination. So we're going to bring lawsuits to try and force them to be accountable. The second thing is that we're going to do a public relations campaign, massive public relations campaign. We have big ambitions because, for example, the restricted access to beaches. We don't believe that Jamaicans should have, restricted access to beaches. We think it should be unfettered. people should just go on the beach whenever they feel like. And
Yes.
if you want buy beachfront property, that's your business, and God bless you. But it shouldn't be at the expense of people. No, this is a national heritage. This is part of our birthright. And
I
then you
agree.
come, you buy it, and then we can. So what we'd like to do is do some commercials, for example, where people, we show the sandals commercials with certain people on the beach, and what we'd like to show the broader perspective of that, where you have black people now holding on to the fence, looking at people on the beach, but they're not allowed to go on the beach. So,
Yeah.
and that's just one example of the PR campaign. The PR campaign can also be used for donor funds as well, to encourage them to find out where did the money go and bring lawsuits wherever we can. The third thing, and probably the most frightening for the politicians and the corrupt politicians and civil servants in Jamaica, is that we have the capability to do inquiries. I don't want to say background investigation, but inquiries, especially when it comes to unexplained wealth. Somebody who could hardly afford to put food on the table, they become an MP, and within one election cycle, them have this and them have that. We know. It's not bad mind or anything like that. It's just being accountable. Right.
Yes.
So those are the three things that we're gonna start out with the foundation, and I'm sure we'll probably branch off into other things as well. And the foundation is not for personal issues. If you have an issue with your neighbor, we cannot help you with that.
Right.
But if you have an issue with your MP, your councillor, the minister, the prime minister, cabinet, whatever, then certainly we will jump in and help you with that. So that's where we are. So can you tell us now about your foundation, and make us see how we can, how is it possible that we can do something together?
So through the Bob and Rita Marley Foundation, we've been doing grassroots work on the ground. We get into the communities and we find out what are the greater needs, and we try to assist them in not doing charity, but advocating on their behalf and even training them. We do a lot of skills training. We do a lot of scholarships. Our focus is mainly education, health, and the youth. So through that, we figure that, we get to the parents, we get to the communities, we get into the schools, and, we collaborate as much as we can, because we feel like it actually does take a village to let this whole thing move in the direction of progress.
Okay. Alvin, sorry about the pronunciation. I used to go Sunday school one at a time, so you have to be careful with me. So it seems like in terms of meshing our efforts, like it would be a good fit, because you're primarily dealing with the social aspects of it, and we're dealing with the legal aspects of it.
Right.
But let me ask you, what are some of the most difficult challenges you're facing right now as you go through with providing the assistance that the people need?
Oh, we don't. I don't know. I don't. We have some of the red tape, and we've been able to move ourselves. When we have to import things, there is a process, but we have our registered charitable organization, so things come through that. We don't find many obstacles, and if they come our way, we actually see them as opportunities to learn something that we didn't know before, and to find a way that we probably didn't check that route before. So we don't have much difficulties. We get in there and we get the job done. I think the hardest thing on the part of the recipients is being able to become self-sufficient. I think that's where we would like to see the individuals in the community be able to help themselves better off for the long term. And if there are any challenges, then that is what we're really trying to now find an opportunity to overcome, but not much obstacles.
You know Bongo Jerry quite well, but I don't think you've ever met Mr. Herb Nelson. And so I'll defer to him. I'll yield to him to let him talk to you a bit. Herb, go ahead, sir.
Okay. Interestingly, Stephanie, I was trying to see how much information is out on the internet about your programs, but it seems like there's very little. They have information about the Bob and Rita's foundation, but more so about Rita. and we couldn't find I could not find a whole lot of stuff. What are you doing to let the diaspora especially know that you guys exist and what programs you are promoting at this point? And are you involved with this new Project Star program with the PSOJ and the JCF?
So we've been raised under a principle that when we do good for others, we don't have any reason to be promoting it. So that's kind of how we operate. Um, I guess because we don't have to, by the grace of the Almighty, we really don't have to reach out to people for funding. It's really hard for a Mali to go out there and say, I need help financially. So we don't do it because we have gotten assistance for projects we've done in Africa before, because we've done a couple water wells in Ghana, for instance, up in Abururi and other places in Ethiopia. We've done a lot of work there, and we've gotten assistance for that. But we don't promote what we do because we don't think we have to. We're not doing any work right now with the PSOJ, or did you say the JCF?
JCF, yes.
No, but we're doing some work with the Advocates Network. That's really what we're doing currently. We're trying to start a public education and engagement program regarding our people on the ground understanding what's going on with the constitution reform and how it affects them. But if the POCJ want to do work with us, we'd be happy to do work with them, as long as it's to the benefit of the people.
Okay. One of the things that I found really fascinating was that your mother, I assume that's Rita,
Correct.
she was born in Santiago de Cuba. And, when did her parents or a parent to raise her move from Cuba to Jamaica? Because
So grandma was in Cuba. Mom's mom in Cuba working when mom was born. But she brought her back to Jamaica quite young because she was actually raised by her father and his sister.
uh, and so has she ever been back to Cuba to claim her heritage or anything like that? Or
No, she went back to Africa to claim her heritage.
okay. Well, I guess, she has both the African and the Spanish heritage that she could look. And there are a lot of Jamaicans still living in Cuba. You see that
Right.
Cuban football team when they come down to Jamaica. Uh, a lot of big time influence. Now, if 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 I'm to presume that the foundation her foundation originally, or is this a spin-off from her foundation?
So she started the Bob Marley Foundation years ago.
Okay.
And then she started her own foundation primarily to do work in Africa, while the Bob Marley Foundation was focused on doing work in Jamaica. And then, because of the need on our island, she started to do work here as well.
Okay. Now, I understand that the she's in Ghana. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay. And wasn't she in Ghana at the invitation of the Ashanti King? Wasn't he the one who invited us to come to Ghana, and you would make sure you got some property?
From the history that I know, it was when her and Sister Minnie did some work with the bones that they had found of the ancestors here and wanting to get them back to Africa. Um, that she really did some research on her lineage and her heritage and found that her ancestors came from Ghana. And that is when she kind of claimed her position. Eventually, she became a citizen of Ghana.
Uh, and so, does that mean now that the family itself is able to be adopted and can move to Ghana anytime you guys are ready? if you
Like
want.
any Jamaican.
Yeah, any
Like
Jamaican.
any Jamaican, yeah.
Right, right. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
I
Ghana has opened. Jerry, your mic is not on, and you know that I love to hear you. Jerry is one of my advisors, you know. I see it. I won't hear what you're saying. Repeat, you were saying something, Brother Jerry?
No, I don't want to interrupt Mr. Nelson. When he's
No, no,
finished,
no.
I
Go
may.
ahead, Jerry. If you have
Okay,
a comment,
okay.
go ahead.
Yes, Stephanie. Two things I want to say quickly. It is not usual for educated and wealthy people to attach themselves to the less fortunate. It's not usual. There are a lot of rich people who do good. There's a lot of rich people who do good. But it's not the usual thing amongst rich people. So philanthropy is a thing that is done by a minority, but a large minority of rich people. So I'm so gratified when some of our educated people, because even my children went to school with some of Rita's children at Vaz and other places. But the other thing is this: Rita has no Spanish heritage. The part
Okay.
Whoops.
Seems like Jerry having problems again.
Yeah, let me take him off and have him come back in. Yeah.
Okay, so Stephanie, at this point,
Yes.
um, tell us about the structure of your organization. You are the CEO at this
The
time,
managing director.
managing director, and who else is there that provides support and influence?
All of my brothers and sisters, my mom's children and my dad's children are all involved. Anything to do with Rita or Bob Marley Foundation, we work together on it. So we rally together as a unit.
Are you hearing me again?
All right,
Yeah,
Jerry's
we
back.
hear you.
Jerry, you
Yes.
can. Jerry is my advisor because he's one of the greatest historians I know. So I was not around when my mother was born, so I can't speak on behalf of what go on before me come from Earth. But maybe Jerry know. Go on through Jerry.
What I'm saying is that the Santiago and the eastern end of Cuba, that where most of our people spent their time, including my grandfather, who had children there. That is the place where the most black Africans are, and because of that, Cuba and South Africa was the location of some of the most branches of the UNIA. There were so many
Mhm.
branches. There were so many branches there that the Latino government of Cuba saw the UNIA and Marcus Garvey as a threat because they were organizing the black people, the Africans in Cuba. And that is how Bustamante was employed by the Cuban police to
Mhm.
infiltrate the Garvey movement. And when he came back to Jamaica, he said, I was an inspector of police in Cuba. He was no inspector of police.
Hmm.
He was a police informant. But Rita and our people who were born there, they have no Spanish heritage. They are African, just like how we are not English. We have no, some of our people have become inter interbreeded with various people, including the English and the Spanish. But the fact is that Rita is not no Spanish, Rita not a Spanish heritage. She was in a country captured by the Spanish from the Taino and forced the Taino to speak Spanish. And as I was saying earlier, these little short people that you see on the Red Indian, they with the Mohawk there, and all them Latin American people. They are not Latinos. They are Asiatics who owned North and South America, and they're trying to label them as Latinos in order to split them away from the African. And that's why most of the so-called Latino people tend not to unite with the African, but they veer more to uniting with
Mhm.
the Anglo people, and that's why Trump and many others are betting on the Latino thing. They are not Latinos. They have been forced to speak Spanish. And if that rule follows, we would be Anglo by speaking English. But Stephanie, I have to come in your family again because most people with education do not stay in contact with the uneducated. And most people with money do not stay in contact with the people who do have money. So it is
No
a
man, we
love.
believe. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a lovely thing. And Bob and Rita set that trend from them a teenager, saying we this train is bound for glory, and this train now go carry no backsliding where you slide away from your people because you get education. But thank
Yeah,
you
I
very
think
much.
one of the things that contribute to that, Jerry, is that my parents came from humble beginnings.
Yeah,
You know, remember, said Bob was originally from 9 Mile, a country in Bonn.
yes.
Coming to Kingston was like,
New York City. It's like
yeah,
New York
ending up
City.
in Trenchtown was like, going uptown
Yes,
compared to where he was coming from. And so I think a lot of it has to do with the way they were raised and also remembering where them coming from. And so we believe the only way to build back a nation or to even to continue to help ourselves and our future generation is to give back.
yes. That is vision. That is real vision. When you realize that plowing back. That is a virtue of Christianity. I'm not talking about Christendom. The
Mm-mm.
virtue of Christianity is that it teaches, and the man what them call Jesus was teaching that plowing back and planting back the seed. And Jesus was teaching that although our people are under Roman jurisdiction, we are going to throw off the Roman yoke, and that's what he was crucified for. Jesus was crucified for sedition, which is planning and working to overthrow the Roman government, and that is what he was doing. But he gave up himself voluntarily to show that if you even kill him, is that time the thing going to start grow.
That's right.
Speaking of plowing back into the community, Stephanie, one of the comments it's been said several times. People are essentially saying that and I mean, I guess they're confirming what you've said in that you don't advertise the good that you're doing. And you know how people are. Some people, if they don't hear, they feel like, well, yeah, we're hearing from your mouth, but we don't hear it, we don't see it. Tell us about feel good stories, some of the successful things that you've done with the foundation in the inner city communities.
Feel good stories. I mean, in terms of healthcare, we've done health clinics in communities that have helped people from full medication, full body treatments, the eyesight, the hearing, and we continue to do that. Annually, we have these health fairs right now at Tufgang. We've been doing them at the Naya Bingi Center in St. Tule, Clarendon for many years. So we believe that in order for people to thrive, they need education, they need their health, and that's what we focus on. And so feel good. I don't know.
Don't focus on the feel. Don't focus on
Yeah.
the feel good. Here's what I would focus on. Just focus on some of the successes you've had and highlight them so that people can understand that this is not phantom organization, but it's an organization that is real. It's an organization that's providing necessary services for people, and it's there.
Yeah, well, we've done many scholarships for children who have now graduated university and become doctors and have come back and done health fairs with us in Africa, in Jamaica, and we've even done work in other Caribbean islands, the Bahamas, St. Lucia. So I'm not here to defend the work we do. Unfortunately, I'm not big on proving what we do to anybody because I don't know. I mean, I guess as he's saying, it's not out there, and so they don't know, which is um, it's okay by us. I mean, we're not asking them for anything, and their approval isn't needed. Them can believe or them can don't believe. It's we're doing the work.
Right. And the
And
reason
we'd
why I
love
ask you
more
that
people
is
in the
this.
diaspora to contribute to the development of Jamaica. That we you know, I had a conversation with Professor Hamilton yesterday morning. She's looking through the advocate networks to do some fundraising again for this public education program. And I was saying to her, tap into the millionaires who are of Jamaican descent who live all over the world. Because it should be them more than some of the other persons, the philanthropists from all over, because they seem to have some contacts with some foundations that even a member of our group was talking about US aid and how compromising it can be when you get money from certain organization. We're fortunate enough that we don't personally, our foundation don't have to go out and ask for funding. Bob Marley is still funding his foundation.
Right.
And we
And
believe that the diaspora should even be supporting what One Jamaica is doing. And we
well,
hope that your listeners, as soon as you get the account and things sorted out, that they put their money where their mouth is, because that is exactly what we've been doing. So if they want to know what we're doing and follow our examples, they must put their money where their mouth is.
and that's why I think that
And I
the
mean
two
that
organizations.
respectfully.
No, and that's why I think that the two organizations they blend rather well, because you're in the business of helping them on a level where you don't really have to come out and expose, and you really funding from anyone. Whereas the One Jamaica League Foundation, we now have to let people know that we're here because people are suffering as a result of what the government is doing, and so we want to take the government to
Yes.
task. So they need to know that we're here. So you can feed some of your people who are experiencing these issues that you're not prepared to deal with. You can feed them to us, and likewise we can feed people to you, that we can provide the social services, medical services, and so on and so forth. So I think it's a wonderful it's going to be a wonderful relationship. I say Bongo Jerry edging to come in. Bongo Jerry, the floor is yours.
One
Go ahead,
second
sir.
though, I just want to say that collaboration is essential. It takes two
Yes,
hands to
indeed.
clap if we're going to be instrumental. We are big on partnering and working with other organizations because we understand that the strength of others support what we're doing and our strength support what you're doing. So collaboration is important.
Indeed.
Yeah,
Indeed. Bongo
I
Jerry.
yes, as both of you, both Mr. Rattigan and Stephanie, stressing on the people outside of Jamaica. As I always say, remind it is a combination between the diaspora. The diaspora is a Greek word meaning dispersed. That's all it means is dispersed. The
Hmm.
diaspora and the people inside Jamaica, always that link is something that nothing can defeat. Now, one of my children in the diaspora, one of my daughters, she gave me more than this, But on one occasion recently, she gave me $100. I decide to open an account with it. When I go to the bank, which I've been banking for decades, they ask me to fill out a form. And on the form, they ask me if I am still at Best FM radio station. I say no, not since November last year, 2022. Later now, when they are interviewing me to make the final decision to open the account, they say, this money that you're opening the account with, where you get it from? I say I get it from my daughter. They say that's not good enough.
Wow.
They say the other amount, where you get it from? I say I save it. Likewise, save the one my daughter give me. I never spend it, I save it. Them say, but you are not at Best FM again. I said that's why I did save when I was there. And not through no money where Best FM give me. Through other things I do because I
Yeah.
bake. I am an artist and I do all different kind of things for a living. Them say you save money and where you keep it. I say I keep the money till I get to come to the bank. Them say between the time when you save it and when you bring it here this morning, where was it?
Wow.
Them say them not taking it unless I can tell them another bank where it was before. Because
Wow.
they tell me I'm not supposed to get money from my daughter and save it. And I'm not supposed to save money when I work. I must carry it to a bank right away. And I must tell them which bank it was in before. And they are not taking my money because I might be doing money laundering with $200.
The
Now
system.
I agree that a lot of money laundering is going on and it is not the best for us. But the fact is this thing is bigger than that bank who refused to take my money, $200. the money world. They came to Africa and they saw the Africans playing with gold and making jewelry with it. And they brought cloth and beads and other things and they swap it with the African for gold. They had never seen so much gold in their life. They built, that's how the banking system built, you know. They built a vault and say we will never let go of this gold. And they
Mm.
build a vault. And when they go there, they start to encourage the African to fight tribal war yearly and don't kill the prisoners. Because African not take prisoner, you know. African kill prisoner. Them tell the Africans stop killing prisoner. Build a concrete building and keep them, and we will come here 3 times a year and we will swap them. But them said to themselves, we are not going to pay no gold for these Africans because we just get the gold out of Africa. So but they sit down and they go to their brain and they say we are going to print some piece of paper
Mm.
that say you work for me for 1 week and you deserve 4 hours compensation. This paper means 4 hours worth of goods. So they give you paper now and
Hold on
says
a second.
money.
Hold on.
It is not
Okay,
money.
Ratty.
No. Hold on a second. Bongo Jerry's finishing up his point. Bongo Jerry,
Yeah,
go
yeah.
ahead. I have a caller,
All
but
right.
the caller, just hold on a second. Let Bongo Jerry finish up his point.
The
Finish up, Bongo Jerry.
paper
All right.
the paper that the European bring is to stop him spending out no more gold and make the gold go back in Africa. Him devise a certificate now that you must bring a him and you get the cloth. So the paper we get is not money, it is credit. They are talk about cash and credit like it's two different things. Their cash is credit, it is not money. So the long story short is that they devise the banking system and they refine it and money laundering really go on. But we not doing no money laundering. They are planning now to have a system where no more cash is to be used. You're using records and they will keep track of every transaction in the earth. They are planning. It will not work, but it look like it's going to work. And a lot of people bow to it already, saying the Bible said it's going to happen and it must happen and the mark of the beast is going to take over.
All
Because
right.
if you buy a little more from this, I have to finish this, please. A little more from this, they are planning that if you're even buying a spliff, the person selling you the spliff have to get a digital record from you because them not going to accept no cash. Because when them accept cash from you and go to the shop, him not getting nothing from him. So they want to digitize that down to the spliff that is, and a woman selling a little comfort for 2 hours will have to make a digital transaction so they can keep track of all who have meat shop and who don't have meat shop.
All right. Caller, go ahead, please.
Yeah. Good evening or good afternoon, Ratty. I'm concerned because I hear my boy Andre on the radio station. Am I right?
Oh yeah. But we'll leave the topic for another time because I'm going to have to deal with that separately.
Yeah.
But
All right. Okay.
we have a special guest here and we have two panelists and you have me. So if you have a question about the subject matter,
Now I just tune into you, so me have to sit along and know exactly what you guys talking about, for me can get input in that.
all right, no problem.
Okay.
We're
Yeah.
here.
All right.
All right, my
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah.
Take
All
care
right.
now. Be well. Herb, your comments, sir.
Yeah. All right, Jerry. One of the things I wanted to clarify, Jerry, about Spain. The Moors ruled over Spain for 7 centuries.
Yeah.
Does that mean that there's a lot of black blood in the Spanish people?
Not only the Spanish people, and it's not only Spain that the Moors rule. They rule the whole of southern Europe.
Right.
Portugal, Spain, a part of France, and Italy. Is when they was trying to take the rest of France, the rest of France gradually turned it around and they were gradually pushed out back after 700 years. Every people that is oppressed eventually push out the oppressor. And you must comfort yourself that we will not be under this oppression forever, even though it looks so. We will not.
So does did they have any influence at all in the Caribbean? Because you called some countries
The Moors? The
the
Moors?
Moors. Yes.
The Moors taught the Spanish, the French, the Portuguese, the Italian, and the English that the world is round like an orange.
Right.
The Spanish and the Portuguese and all of them know that the world is round because them look on the sun and them look on the moon and them come to the conclusion that all heavenly bodies are round. But they thought it was round like a plate. And if you go too far upon the plate, you drop off. It is the Moors, which is part of our people, who thought them said round like an orange. And what goes around comes around. There's no dropping off on no edge. It's like the orange peel, you peel and peel and peel and go right round. So it is the Moors who taught them overseas travel. Europeans only could travel along coastline where you can still see the land. Any of them go past where you can't see the land again, them lost and can't reach home. Is African teach them navigation by the stars and navigation by piece of metal we turn the same way when you let it go. The Moors taught many other things, architecture.
All right, hold on.
The present, yeah.
Hold on a second, Bongo Jerry. We have a caller because I don't want to stray too far from the point and the good work that we want plan to do. Go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, Ratty.
Good afternoon, sir.
And your guest.
Yes, sir.
The more my girl, I appreciate what she's doing, and I give thanks for what she's doing, because what she's doing before she was born, that thing was planned by the Master God. So I appreciate that.
Yes.
And I know you're gonna do great things.
Thank you.
Gonna do great things.
Give thanks.
That is something that God wants her to do. Have to do it. She have to do it. Bongo.
True words.
You
True
said
words.
something, but he's saying he's talking about Jesus and Jesus. He's after he go back into more research, I would say, to Bongo Dread. Then you find out the truth about Jesus. Right? What the more he's doing,
hold on,
that is a
hold on, please,
testament from Jesus Christ, what she's doing.
Hold on, little please.
What she's doing. And
Sir,
I
please,
appreciate
Hold on, Bongo. Let him finish the point. But Bongo Jerry, hold on. Bongo, hold on. Let him finish the point. Make we hear him out first.
No, tell him,
Not
tell him.
leaving.
No, he's not
leaving.
leaving. He's not leaving. But make him finish the point.
Tell him, say I want to talk to him. Tell him,
Jerry, yeah, Bongo Jerry, hold on a second. Let him finish. Hold on a second. He's hearing you. He's hearing you. Go to your point, please.
Yeah, man. So what the mom is doing? She she have to do it. No turn. She have to do it. She have to do it because the Master said, "The you do for one of this one, you do it for me." You do it. Good that Molly is doing. She's not even doing it unto herself. She's doing it unto the Master.
True.
Because she have to do it. So I pray for her that she will, continue and will continue, because God ordained her to do it. And I big up.
Okay.
Give thanks.
For what
Give thanks for the prayers,
all right,
because they're necessary.
No, you made that point. You went to. All right. You made that point that Bong think is gonna take objection. You wanna finish that point?
No.
And he wants you to stay. And
he
wants you to stay on the line.
Hold on.
No, he's not objecting.
Okay, what I'm saying about Jesus, he is the one. He came and he gave his life. He gave his life for us, right? For us, the one who are chosen by him. If you're not chosen by God, you have nothing to do with God. You only him just have you. Him just have you there, and I'd like to welcome to Jamaica, and I'd like to meet Bongo Joe. I sit down and really talk to him and show him certain things.
No, you're going to meet me now.
This doesn't have nothing to do with white man or black man, because plenty people said Christianity come from white man and this have nothing to do with white man. This have to do with God. And Bongo Joe have to really.
All right, call it. Hold on, Bongo Jerry, hold on a second. Bongo Jerry, gentlemen, there has to be some decorum. So finish with your point now,
No,
caller.
I'm not upset.
Point. You made your
back.
point, right? You had another point you want to make
you
before he speaks.
All right, maybe Bongo Jerry gone because I know more people want to talk.
Okay. All right. Bongo Jerry, go ahead.
No decorum. I hear this now. Hear this now. What I say about Jesus were wrong. Come, tell me. Him hang up. When do him hang himself? What I say about Jesus that is not proper.
I think he misunderstood what you said, Jerry. I think the caller misunderstood because he said the man them called Jesus Christ.
No, please, make him speak for himself. Please, make him speak. Is he still there?
Is he still, Will?
He's gone. All right, let me take another.
No, you say.
Caller, go ahead, please. Good evening.
No, may I talk to you?
Yeah, greetings.
All right, I gone. Sorry, bye.
Yeah, greetings.
I think he misunderstood Jerry,
Okay.
I wanted to make a point to Jerry before he left.
Yes.
And
he's gone. Go ahead.
Yeah, live. Good evening, Mr. Rattigan.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Uncle Herb, Mr. Stephanie, Lynn audience. Right. Good evening. Right. Yeah, what I want to say now is I want to make a proposal to the panelists, the listening audience, and other resource person to come up with a document. The document would be a guideline towards the liberation of Jamaica from the British, so it would start with the present legal system that is running the government that the people are not aware of, and this could start with the company named the State of Jamaica that is registered in England and owned by the British Crown, and come down to the setting up of the Parliament with the mace and all that, what it means, the whole structure, how they are still having us under colonialism in our modern form, and we need to liberate ourselves from that system and create a parallel system now to free ourselves and govern ourselves under a more uplifting banner. So may I say we could put together a document, a roadmap towards this goal.
Vital.
Okay.
Yeah. And me know, man, like,
I would hope that the caller is aware that their Jamaican superiority movement
that farm to guide this process alongside yourself and Herb.
Okay.
Yeah, just
I
that
was
for the time that someone else come in.
I don't think we can hear you, Steph.
Okay.
You can't hear? No, I can't hear Stephanie.
Yeah.
No,
go ahead, caller.
Yeah, may I say, I just that no answer for the time being. So probably someone could have taken down that note to say we really need to put a guideline together to liberate ourselves from the British, because we're still under British rule.
Well, yeah, that's true. And that's one of the things that I'm trying to. As long as we have a constitution, we're somewhat influenced by and as a public service notice to everyone listening, this Saturday we're gonna take a segment out of the program and just start teaching people about the constitution, because we find that they're asking people at some point, they'll ask people to vote on a referendum about the constitution, of which they know nothing. So we're because they took civics out of the classroom, so they don't know anything about it, and the older folks, they don't know. So we're going to, for lack of a better term, read people about what this constitution is and what it means and its impact. So, and I know you're interested in that because you call religiously every week to each on the Constitution, which I greatly.
Yeah, yeah. Because what is when me realize and after 1962 and me realize we parents get tricked. We get parents get tricked because you know they tell the people and say, yo, wanna get independence, and everybody jump up and nobody not no fi say
Look, I could lose the caller too. Is he there,
Yeah,
Will?
I'm sorry I missed your program on the independence because we need to call a spade, and I hope you were able to educate your listeners that we're not independent,
Very much
but they're
so.
in the process now of removing the king.
I think we lose Rattigan too. But Steph, here's what I was trying to say to Jerry, and the point I was trying to make. What's Jamaica's motto? Out
Oh,
of
is it
many,
one people?
one people. And I think in with the diaspora and others, we tend to think of Jamaicans as just being of the Afro Jamaicans.
Right.
We don't extend our views beyond the shores, right? We have your mom in Cuba with the Spaniards, but he says no, the Spaniards don't count. To something to that effect, right? So we're not Europeans, but in fact, as Jamaicans, part of Jamaica is Eurocentric, and we know that it was the Moors who brought modernism to, and as he rightly said, not just Spain, Portugal, and other parts of Europe. But that means our blood runs wide and deep
True.
because of the crossovers. So if we're going to appeal, and that's why Jamaica is so appealing as a country, because when people do the research, like I did, you find that you have folks in Scotland, in Russia, the Vikings, for crying out loud. I found my bloodline up there and others, right? And of course, the majority came out of Western Africa, all the way down to Angola. So if we're going to be out of many one people, we have to appeal to that cross section wherever people came from, right? We have to say to them, look, we are here in Jamaica. We had no choice over the matter, and you are part of this. And we need your support. We need your help. If that means India, if that means China, if that means Spain, Portugal, whoever is coming up, my man, that the singer that performs with Beyonce, Enriquez. Enriquez, what's Enriquez's son's name?
Julio?
No, not Julio. Golly. Uh,
No, but you make a good point. Remember now, until the color of a man's skin is of no more significance than the color of his eyes, we're gonna always be at war.
right, right,
Yeah, and we all mixed up in various ways. It's great for us to identify with our African roots because we know, say, the power of the beginning of humanity. I mean, when you talk about the gold and the rivers that are mentioned in Genesis, those rivers still run deep in Africa.
right.
And so, because of how tarnished we have been as a race, it's so sad to see how diluted it has become so that black people don't even want to be black anymore.
Yeah,
And so, for those who feel strongly about identifying as African, which is exactly what my mother did, she knew she had roots in other nations, but she wanted, because she felt led to strongly identify with her African race. But there's definitely heritage throughout. We are a mixed breed.
yeah. I mean,
And I don't think it's by any form of error. I think there's a reason why we're all mixed.
well, the real motherland to me is Africa. And Africa gave birth to everybody else, right? The oldest bones found millions of years ago, according to the time dating research that was done, it's over 5 million years old. So they know that's in Africa. A lot of times people are saying to me, we say the Bible goes back 8,000 years, and that's to Iraq, right? That's the Old Testament and
Yes.
Africa. Well, what happened the other 30 odd, 32 or whatever thousand years that the world has been in existence? We don't know, because a lot of what the Europeans found when they came and plundered Africa, they took back with them to the respective archives,
Yes.
and they won't release it. They
Yeah.
won't really tell us the truth as to what our history is.
But
And
that is by design. That is by
design,
design.
yeah. But it just means no matter who you are, it's just one brother fighting against another.
Yes.
Because you have people that look like us that represent the European countries, and they'll fight you to the hilt to say that you can't have this. So it's as if we have not sufficiently identified with each other, and we need to keep working on that.
I agree.
And this is why Bob's song "One Love" resonates so much as a world national anthem.
I agree.
Everybody
Yes.
wants to sing it, right? Because that's what has to happen for us to survive as a people. If you look at what's happening in Ukraine right now, we're getting closer and closer to the nuclear countdown. And what are we going to do as a people if the big boys annihilate themselves?
Hmm.
We need to start thinking about that,
True.
because that's a reality. But in your organization, in everything that you're doing, yes, we'd like to hear more from you in the diaspora, but we'd
Okay.
also love to know that you're reaching out beyond the shores to all the other connections that we have, because we know we have Yardis or Jamaicans or whatever they want to call themselves living in Russia. They're living in parts of the world, Denmark. I've traveled with the U.S. military all over, and everywhere I go, I hear that accent. And when that accent hit my ear, even though they're speaking another language,
Yeah.
right, I react to it. We have Jamaicans down in Mexico. We have Jamaicans further down in Latin America, in Peru and other places. They're successful. And these are the people that I believe a foundation like yours, which expresses the one love genre, that you can pull all these people in.
But there's
Right?
definitely room for that, because we're not too big to grow. So there's definitely room for that.
Well, I'm glad you're saying that. So, Ratty, can you hear? No, you can't. Can't hear you. I think he's cut
Definitely
off.
room for growth.
Yeah,
We haven't reached the pinnacle. We haven't reached our optimum level. We
right.
definitely have room. I believe that we do need to have broader connections, though.
And this is why I was saying, in the organization, in your structure, you gotta have a PR person, a person with personality, and you have a lot of brothers that have personality. You have a lot of your sister, Sidella, has a lot of personality, right? You have personality, but you definitely need a designated person to reach out to all these other branches so that you can pull them in. And I believe that would be the ultimate in success, you know, because
Uh-uh.
not only would you be successful, but the programs that's needed in Jamaica is woefully underfunded. You talk about the health fairs. You need a health fair in every underserved community in Jamaica. If you have 2 million people that cannot meet the basic subsistence on an everyday basis, you have kids going to school that don't eat. When they go home, they don't eat. They don't eat breakfast and they don't eat dinner, but they might get a lunch at school. That's all they
Yeah,
depend on. So you don't have enough breakfast programs. You don't have enough soup kitchens. The churches are falling down. They're full of
true.
scandals and everything else.
Yes.
You know, the best example I can find, maybe Reverend Bobby in Waterhouse and Murray up in Grantspan. I don't know if if there's any coordination between you guys that tends to show the best practices to other pastors, right? Because I'd asked Murray to coordinate with Pastor Bobby and show him how the USAID and other aid, Canada or the UK, how that works. So you could get the funding, necessary funding for them to move. Well, you're saying that you're more or less independent. The question is because these people have done some homework and they have lots of successes, but they still need to expand their boundaries to the surrounding areas.
Yes.
And that is a problem from what we're seeing in the diaspora. So, is there a plan you have that you could survey what's needed in the, say, Kingston and St. Andrew communities that are underserved? Do you know what the underserved communities are? Do you know where they are? And do you know who represents them? And is there a plan that your foundation could organize amongst the, I'm sorry, Professor, you work with her already, Professor
Hamilton.
Hamilton, Advocates Network. Is there a program that can be advertised that we could spread it around to underserved communities to get these kids organized and eating a decent meal so that they can learn, right? Got high schools with 44% graduation rate and can't move. They've been like that for 40 years. We got to change that because those kids are sentenced to gangs, gang warfare, and early deaths. I mean, go ahead.
No, I'm just about to say that we're at a stage right now where we're more than realizing that we cannot depend on the government to do some of these things that they ought to be doing. And so we have to be responsible to care for ourselves and those in our country, which is what we've been doing. But as you said, with the food feeding programs, there is definitely need for greater involvement in that. There's greater need for the security of our country. Yeah, we're struggling with homelessness as well. So it's like it's not just one thing or two things, is a plethora of things that needs attention. What we're focusing on right now is continuing to help. I mean, I get scholarship requests very, very regularly, and I don't think we've ever turned down a child who needs education or who needs funding for food. Um, for us to go out there and do the survey now, I don't think we've ever ventured into that. Maybe in the future there's room for it. Right now, we are focusing on what is going on with educating the people and engaging them to understand how this constitution reform is going to affect them if they don't become citizens who participate in the process.
Okay.
And so that's what we're focusing on right now. And what we tend to do, and we're focusing also on back to school. That's a program we've been doing for more than 20 years. So we feel like we take on certain instrumental roles and we do it effectively. But there is always room for more, because when it's not one thing, is another. We are seriously concerned about safety of the children in our nation,
Mm-hmm.
and we're trying to figure out how we can play a part in that.
Okay. All right. I'm trying to communicate with Mr. Rattigan.
Okay.
He's been knocked off, unfortunately, and we are at the 7 o'clock hour.
Yes, I was just gonna say.
I wanted to say many thanks to you for coming on, and to Jerry, and hopefully, we can do this again. By the time we do this again, hopefully, your services have expanded greatly to our underserved communities.
Yeah, man, I look forward to that, and I appreciate the challenge.
Yeah.
That the challenge that you put forth is one worthy. So we know next time we talk, we should have some update, and maybe or maybe not, we'll do some work on our PR. Because we're
Well,
really not big on
those one
promoting when
love,
we're
I
helping
call
people.
them the one love people. Bob created that, and
Pardon?
that the one love people. Bob created that, and that's the massive out there that needs to be included, needs to be drawn in, regardless.
I don't know, and I see, I'm on the side with the earlier caller. I believe that that was created by the Almighty, and it was manifested through him,
Yeah,
and it was something that he had to do,
yeah,
and it was done well. And I think it's for us now, not just his children, but us who have been influenced by One Love, to carry it on, because it is the role of each one to play a part.
okay, all right. Well, look, my thanks to you. Great seeing you. Great
Same
seeing you,
here.
my friend,
Thank you, guys.
Mr. Rattigan,
Stay
and
well. Keep
Jerry.
safe. Blessings. I look
Stay well.
forward to see you
Blessings to
again.
you. Very good. And thanks to all the audience members out there. I'm reading your comments, and they're very informative.